Before we begin, I would like to thank your listeners for spending an hour of their precious time to listen to this interview. I'm an Iranian exile turned into an Iranian-American filmmaker. I produced a feature film called The Golden Veil, in which I have shown how the Illuminati operate and how they installed the brutal regime of the Islamic Republic of Iran in 1979 as the first step of the final plan for the new world order. I shall explain this later in this program. I urge your listeners who wish to know more about me to type my name in YouTube search. And for that reason, I'd like to spell my name. My first name is Bahman, that's B-A-H-M-A-N, and last name is Nassiri, N-A-S-S-I-R-I. My reason for being on your show tonight is to make Americans realize to save planet Earth and prevent World War III, the Islamic Republic of Iran has to be exterminated. Following this interview, I will probably be the most unpopular person amongst Iranians, but I do not care because my fight is against a bunch of Palestinian sympathizers who invaded my country 34 years ago. Despite all peaceful talks, the Islamic Republic of Iran is trying to buy time until they reach capability of manufacturing not only one, but hundreds of nuclear warheads, with one aim in their minds, to attack Israel. We have to understand the dangerous psychology of the Shiite sect of Islam. These people are looking forward to Armageddon. They have been brainwashed that the more they suffer in this life, they will have more rewards in heaven. They all want to become martyrs. They believe that in Armageddon, their Imam Mahdi, their 12th Imam, that is called Mahdi, will come and take them all to heaven. Now, let us talk about the plans for the New World Order.
Folks, please pay very close attention to what is about to be said here, because this lays the foundation, and this will give you a greater understanding of that panorama that we've been talking about. Sir, go ahead.
To begin, I'd like to read a letter that was written by Albert Pike to an Italian revolutionary by the name of Mazzini, dated August 15, 1871, in which he outlined his vision of 3 world wars, which would ultimately bring about a one-world government. Albert Pike was the Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry in the 19th century. He was born December 29, 1809, and died April 2, 1891. The letter was displayed at the British Museum in London for a short period before it was removed. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Germany is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism destroy each other. Now, please remember that Albert Pike died in 1891. His predictions on World War I and World War II came true exactly, and remains to be seen if his predictions on World War III will also be as accurate. Mr. Hagman, I do not believe that Albert Pike had the power of prophecy to predict things so accurately. Therefore, I strongly believe that Albert Pike's writings were based on his knowledge of a master plan that was drawn long before World War I.
Yes.
Okay, now, I became a Freemason in Iran in 1974 at the age of 21. Following the Iranian Revolution of 1979, I settled in Oxford, England. During this time, I joined the Oxford Masonic Lodge at 333 Banbury Road, Oxford. In 1991, after divorce, I came to the United States, and a few years later, I joined the Masonic Lodge number 693 in Palm Springs, California, where President Gerald Ford was a member. In 2005, at the age of 52, I received my 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Having climbed up to the 32nd step of King Solomon's Temple, I knew that the 33rd step would lead me to the lodge above, where I would be illuminated. However, I realized that no Freemason of the 33rd degree had ever entered the lodge above, which some scholars have called it the Illuminati. And in fact, every Mason I spoke to believed that it never existed. Until I met an illuminated brother who was one of my father's best friends, and he told us everything. The information that I gathered from this brother for over a decade has been written and placed in a secret location with full documents and a long list of members to be released upon my death, not by any member of my family, but by a lawyer who resides outside of California. This will be published and released as a book called The Golden Mask. This action will guarantee my safety while I am alive, since the book will only be released upon my death. What I learned from this brother is as follows. Some who reach the 32nd degree, or even the honorary degree of the 33rd, realize that they know nothing but some ancient stories, philosophical thoughts, mathematics, and geometry. Brethren are made to believe that the highest degree is the 33rd, and there is nothing beyond that, but there is. There is a lodge above the lodge of the double-headed eagle, and it's called Lodge of the Eagles. Call them Illuminati, Bilderberg, or what you may, but their true name is the Eagles. The most secret brotherhood with less than 1,000 members who are the most powerful bankers, arms manufacturers, and oil barons. And these are the men who rule upon us. Now, imagine a pyramid. 7 billion people on earth lie at the bottom of the pyramid. They are considered not to be important. Good masons occupy the main part of the pyramid, and a small top section, which carries the all-seeing eye, is occupied by the eagles. But there is a section between the Masons and the eagles, which is occupied by two other secret societies, the Skull and Bones and the Roshaniah. I'd like to talk about the Roshaniah and the Skull and Bones, the Roshaniah and the Skull and Bones connection, before revealing what I know about the eagles. First, let me spell the word Roshaniah. That's Roshaniya, which means Illuminati in Afghan and Persian language. The 16th century saw the rise of a very powerful secret society based upon a secret cult in the mountains of Afghanistan called the Roshaniah, meaning the illuminated ones. In fact, the Roshaniah are just a later emergence of the old cult of the assassins. To learn full history of the Roshaniah, please type the word Roshaniah in YouTube and watch a video which I uploaded 8 months ago titled Illuminati Exposed 2013 the Roshaniah. Now please listen to this carefully. The Roshaniah is the sister branch of the Skull and Bones. Osama bin Laden was a member of the Roshaniah and George W. Bush a member of the Skull and Bones. This is useful information for those who believe 9/11 was an inside job. Osama bin Laden joined the Roshaniah at the age of 21, although he would never admit to it. And he played a major part in kicking Russians out of Afghanistan. Later, he formed what is known as Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is also controlled by the eagles. The eagles make presidents and remove those presidents who disobey their orders, such as JFK through assassination and Jimmy Carter. The eagles meet in secret inside a temple in Washington, D.C. They have rituals very similar to Freemasons, as shown in my unpublished book called The Golden Mask. The eagles' ultimate plan is the establishment of a new world order to be completed through a third world war. This war will begin over the Middle East and spread. The plan of the eagles is to enable Iran's manufacture of nuclear warheads behind the scenes, while on the surface they will be watched, or they may be watched by IAEA, etc. Final agenda is for Muslims and Jews to wipe each other out, as Albert Pike wrote. I would like to add here, what is most dangerous is for Iran to have the knowledge and capability to manufacture hundreds of nuclear warheads in a very short frame of time. Many intelligent people are wondering why dictators are overthrown by the United States, Britain, and France, only to be replaced by Islamic fanatics. This is exactly the plan of the eagles, which began with the overthrow of the Shah of Iran in 1979 and bringing an illiterate Islamic fanatic. The aim is to create the big enemy. To make big war, you need big enemy. To create big enemy, you need differences in race, religion, and political systems. To make war, you need economic depression. To make war, you need to create hatred. chantings of death to America and death to Israel for 34 years by the Islamic Republic of Iran is an example of that. Over the next couple of years, until the big enemy is created, terrorism will enter new dimensions created by the eagles as false flags. Is it not sad?
Wow.
Is it not sad to think that in the 21st century, less than 1,000 people rule upon 7 billion people?
Wow.
The Islamic Republic of Iran was created in 1979 by the Eagles as the first step of the final chapter towards the establishment of the New World Order. The Eagles' plan for a New World Order will result in a total invasion of the Middle East after Jews and Muslims wipe each other out and after the nuclear fallout or black rain ends. If, according to Albert Pike's writings, Muslims and Jews have to wipe each other out, Iran must be allowed to manufacture its nuclear heads, not one, but 200 of them. Let me say that the only reason Israel has remained safe is because of this nuclear imbalance. If Iran develops atomic weapons, I can assure you that Israel will be threatened in no time, and World War III will break out. And that is the wish of the Eagles. If the world populace listen to this broadcast, perhaps they may realize there are a few hundred families who rule upon 7 billion people, and if we cannot rise up against them and destroy their weapons of mass destruction, if we cannot have the courage to destroy the demons and stop the massacre of our children, then our existence is worthless. And the plan is to enable Iran to, behind the scenes, to get to that stage of being capable of suddenly come out with the manufacture of hundreds of nuclear warheads.
Well, thank you so much, sir. God bless you. Stay safe, and let's keep in touch. We do want to know how you're doing. We certainly want to keep our tabs on you to make sure you're okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank
sir.
you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Folks, that was an incredible interview, Joe. Man, of course, folks, that was Bahman Nassiri. Bahman Nassiri. Man, Joe, I'm just stunned on a number of levels.
This is True News. Welcome to the program. My guest today, he is also a 32nd degree Freemason. He's going to talk to us about an ancient secret society, a group that some people believe gave birth to the Illuminati. And he's going to tell us what he knows about the upcoming attack on Iran and the agenda for World War III. Bahman Nassiri, welcome to True News.
Thank you for inviting me. Well, first I'd like to say the Iranian Revolution of 1979 was a conspiracy, masterminded by powerful sources in the United States, Britain, and France, for 4 reasons. 1, to prevent a communist takeover by installing an Islamic regime. 2, to remove the Shah, who was the architect of rising oil prices, which had caused a severe economic crisis in the West. 3, to remove the threat of Iran becoming a nuclear power under the Shah. 4, and the most important, the first step towards plans for the New World Order. Now, the only way to destroy this plan before an inferno takes place over Iran is and I've been saying this for 11 years, and Iranians do not believe what I say. The only way to destroy this plan is for Iranians to rise up and kick this alien regime out before it's too late. Time will be ripe for this action once Assad of Syria falls.
According to what you're describing to us, the regime in Tehran is merely a puppet of this dark conspiracy that is manipulating the Middle East. So if they rise up and kick them out, does that really stop this plan from going forward?
Well, it will remove the foundation of the plan, which started with the Islamic Republic of Iran. If you don't have the enemy, you cannot stage war.
So they need a boogeyman.
Exactly.
You're listening to True News. Bahman, welcome back to True News.
Thank you for having me on your show for the second time, Mr. Wiles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In your last interview with me, I released details of what I knew. Before I begin, I have to say that I have already said too much, and I would have been dead by now if it wasn't because of the fear of my book, The Golden Mask, which will be released upon my death. And that is the only thing that's keeping me alive. And I would like to add, this will be my last appearance, mainly because I do not wish for my YouTube channel or Facebook page to get shut down.
You said that there's a group called the Eagles.
Yes.
And you're not talking about the fraternal society, the Eagles. You're talking about a super secret, very small number of people who go by the name the Eagles. How many people are in this group?
Less than 1,000. The most powerful families in the world.
How long has this group been in existence? Do you know?
I don't know exactly, but a long, long time.
Generations?
Yes.
All right. And essentially, are they controlling the West? Besides the United States, are they controlling the Western nations?
They control the world. Yes.
All right. So that includes China and Russia?
Yes.
Now, are you still a 32nd degree Freemason?
I was until 2 months ago that I received a letter that my name has been crossed out.
So you've been booted out of the Freemasonry Society?
Yes.
Well, good for you. I'm glad to hear that.
And the reason for it was because of holding these interviews in the past year. And after 40 years, I've been kicked out.
Okay, let's talk about this threat that you claim to know about involving biological warfare. Tell us about it.
Okay. Well, if you remember, Mr. Wiles, in the last interview, I did explain the reason for everything that you see happening, and I went into details that the main reason is to create a big enemy before the breakout of World War III. And the big enemy that I was talking about a year ago has now been created.
ISIS.
And this time it is called ISIS. You know, if the beheading of James Foley and Stephen Sotloff were not enough to terrorize Americans, a massive chemical or biological terrorist act may take place on American soil in the near future. The puppet masters, Mr. Wiles, are in full control of the show. Everything you see happening today is according to the big plan. If enough people know what is going on, it may serve to make a difference and destroy the demon's plan. And I ask all your listeners to forward the link to all their friends and family and make it go viral.
What can you tell us about this plot to use biological warfare on us?
The reason would be to terrorize America and go to war, basically. That's it.
All right. And did your source tell you that it would be bubonic plague?
My source, all my source said was that the next attack will be biological or chemical.
Any hint on how soon the attack would come?
Well, no exact time was mentioned, but the source says that it will be soon.
So you're saying, if I'm reading you right, you're saying that the shadow government is who is planning this bubonic plague attack.
Well, exactly.
And what is the purpose of it? Simply to drive us into war? Into
another war, yes. Yes, the big plan. The big plan is this is all prelude to World War III, Mr. Wiles.
Mm-hmm.
If you allow me, how long have we got?
I can stretch it 4 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. All these groups, from Al-Qaeda to ISIS and others, are offshoots of the same secret brotherhood I mentioned in my interview, and controlled by the higher power, as I explained. Islam today is not the peaceful Islam that it was supposed to be as an extension of Christianity. Islam has been penetrated by non-Muslims who plan to destroy that religion. Their plan also aims to force different Muslim factions to fight amongst each other. ISIS has been created by the demons to destroy Islam. This is not what Islam is all about. You see, there are two scenarios now. The first scenario is according to Albert Pike's writings for the breakout of World War III, in which Muslims and Jews will wipe each other out. The second scenario is mine, which I will try to explain, to say it in 1 minute. And it goes as follows. This will be in 2 stages also. Stage 1, over the next few years, ISIS will take over the Middle East and stage war against the Shia sect of Islam. I ask Iranians to rise up and oust the Islamic regime in Iran. Failure to do so will result in killings of millions of young Iranians being forced into a bloody war. And then in stage 2, ISIS will attack Israel and perform horrific terrorist acts on U.S. and British soil. And this will result in continuous state of global war, as 580 million Muslims in Africa, 180 million in India, 140 million in Pakistan, 25 million in China, 17 million in Russia, 4 million in Germany, 3 million in Britain, 2 million in France, and 1.6 billion worldwide will rise up in a holy jihad.
How long until we get to stage 2?
Few years away. This will be a long war. It's not going to be a little war like the overthrow of Saddam Hussein in 2 or 3 days. This is going to take years.
But the game plan is ISIS will control the entire Middle East.
Initially. But in the end, they will all be crushed.
Crushed by who?
By the superpowers.
So
by the United States.
So are you saying that the shadow government has created ISIS for its purpose, will use ISIS to devour the Middle East and then in the end destroy it?
Yes, completely wipe them out.
Bahman Nassiri, the film is The Golden Veil. Bahman, thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mr. Wiles, and I have one more sentence.
Yes, sir.
My last message to all listeners is, shoot your TV.
There you go. Thank you, Bahman. Appreciate it.
Thank you.